You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
We're living in a very dangerous time right now, and liberalism has lost their cotton-picking mind.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Nobody ever said anything about resisting Obama. They went at him on legitimate arguments.
I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Round Table, your all-access pass to exposing fake news, the resistance, and the global elite's shadow government undermining American progress. Be a part of the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your all-American hosts, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell.
And good morning. This is the Abolitionist Round Table of Michigan. This is your host, Phil Stargell. And today we are going to give you some good information as usual, but we are also we're going to throw in a little surprise for you here and there. We've got a real good show lined up for you this morning. But it is, to me, it is a real tragic day when when a verdict such as the Kate Steinle murder case comes down and this type of decision is rendered. I mean, it's just startling. Why in the world would anybody not want to do everything possible to secure our borders and make sure that the people that are in this country are not given more rights, super rights, civil rights that have really turned into Jim Crow law in San Francisco and the state of California, because California is now a sanctuary state. So all of those college professors and those pointy-head liberals coming out of those college institutions that tell our young black people, such as the football players, that this country is a racist nation, that this country is practicing and carrying out systematic racism. They ought to close those institutions down because they are the ones that are really practicing institutional racism. Because let's look at the record. They go out of their way to go around the world and bring in all of these college students and teach them how to do the things that manufacturers in this country want, like the STEM program. And when it comes to the slots in the colleges, only 5% of them are being taken up by the minority community in this country. And that goes for Hispanics and blacks. The rest of that is those quotas that they have in those colleges are being filled by people from India, people from China, people from South Korea, and things like that. And they are the ones that are the top priority going into the manufacturing sector of this country. So when they tell you that there's a systematic racism in this country, this is what it is. This is where it is. The systematic Jim Crow of these sanctuary cities. That's exactly what it is. Jim Crow law for illegals. And they are tearing this country apart. And people, you better stand up and demand your constitutional rights and stop this nonsense allowing people to call you a racist because you are protecting your constitutional rights. And we're going to get into that a little bit more as the show goes on. But I'm just really ticked off about the idea that that they can put this blindfold over people's eyes and just take away your and my rights on a daily basis, and then turn around and tell you it's your fault because you know, if you weren't such a racist, you wouldn't these problems wouldn't happen. So we've got to hold these people accountable, just like they want to hold every politician responsible for what has been going on in the liberal halls of the news media with this sexism and sexual assault and sexual whatever they want to call it. They only enforce these laws, have been only enforcing those laws for the liberal, for the favor of the liberal. It's basically Jim Crow laws in the news department, in the media department, in the Hollywood sector. It's all special laws for the liberals. And this is what we're fighting here. And what we've got to do is we've got to start voting the people in this country that are going to protect and defend our U.S. Constitution and stop this nonsense about some diversity and all of that being our strength. Nothing is strong if you weaken it with other ingredients. So let's stop the nonsense and let's start protecting our constitutional rights, because they've taken away your right to speak. The next thing you know, they'll take away your right to do anything that's in our Constitution because it was put there by racist white guys. So, you know, we better start protecting what the Constitution says our protections are, and demanding them, not just asking for them, demanding them, because you can see with this murder and turning this guy loose that they don't give a dog about your constitutional rights, but they will go all over the country to protect the rights of some illegal, somebody that's in the country illegally that does not have the constitutional protection, so they turn around and give them special protection. That's what the whole thing is about. So I said to you when I started this morning that we had a little surprise for you. And I'm happy to say that surprise just walked in the door. And I'm going to let him get his coat off and get situated here, and then I'm going to let him take over that mic there for a few minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue to tell you that you better start looking at these laws that these judges have put into place and enforced. They have no right to be writing laws. So we need to make our legislature stop allowing the judicial branch of government to become the dominant force in the country, in the political landscape of this country. We've let them take it over. They've taken over and crowded out by using this idea of judicial review as a wedge to get in and control the everyday operation of this country. So we have got to start demanding that they be limited to what their role is, and that is interpreting the Constitution as what the original intent of the founders was, not to come in and talk about this as a living Constitution, and that they have the option to determine the direction of this country, because they have more of the foibles that you see every day with the news media, with the political people, by not having discretion in how they operate their sexual proclivities. They have just as many in the judicial system, but we have one judge that can make the decision that's going to affect the lives of millions and millions of people for years and years and years. And nobody seems to be able to stop that. But yeah, we as people can stop it, because we need to start electing people that are believing in our Constitution and are willing to defend it. So that's my little rant this morning. And I want to say good morning, Dale Marsh.
Yeah, good morning, Phil. Good morning.
I am so glad to see you.
Yeah, I'm a little weak, but shoot, I say, well, let me go on. Hold on a second here.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you, first of all, Phil. Shucks, I'm sorry about all the noise. Early this morning, I probably woke up a few people here. Yeah, I want to say, first of all, thank you this morning to my family. Thanks to my Lord and Savior, man. I'm on the right track right now. Yeah, I was diagnosed with Hopkins lymphoma. It's a stage 2 cancer, and I did go into a little. I got myself sidetracked there for a while. Lost a lot of weight, man. I was down in 120-pound area. Built myself up, back up. My normal weight is in the 100, about 172. I'm at about once. And went yesterday went to the doctor about 147. So I'm building myself back up. I got to get my strength back up, because yeah, absolutely, we're in a real fight here, and there's so much going all at one time. But I want to thank you hear a caller on the line all the time. That's Gary. Gary, put those headphones on. Pull that mic over. And Gary called. You hear Gary from Roseville from time to time. And Gary called me and said, Dale, I want to make a commitment to you. Anytime you want to go to the show, I take you. You know, you don't have to give me anything at all. As a friend, I want to be there for you. And so Gary came to pick me up, and I want to say that I'm very thankful for Gary. Say good morning, Gary.
Oh, good morning.
I want to say I'm very thankful for Gary.
Thanks a million.
Thanks.
We have crossed paths and been on the side out there on the when it's cold out there, walking the pavement, and standing up for the rights of the American people.
Yeah,
exactly.
My goodness, this is America here, here.
Mm-hmm. So you can go to our website at artofmichigan.com. I should have some things up by later early noon. We came up, some of the friends, Phil and Milt and Janice and Gary came up with a awesome idea. It's called Stand By Your Friend for the Holidays. Friends of Dale Marsh Fight Against Cancer fundraiser. If you'd like to participate, you can go to our website at artofmichigan.com. We have a credit card donate that you can make a commitment of $10, $25, $30, $50, whatever your commitment level you would like. Or you can mail all correspondence to Del Marsh, P.O. Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135. That's to help me along this process. I got a bill so far this year of what my part I have to pay, and so the medical bills they mounting up pretty quick on this rate. I'm talking about they mounted up quick. I did pay. I paid what I had so far, but that if you like to help out, be a part of this Friends Standing Against Cancer fundraiser, you can go. We'll talk about it again. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff that's in the news. Roy Moore is getting a bump in the. Got a little bump. I think we got another week, and Nancy Pelosi, privileged Nancy, telling John Conyers to step down. Never said anything about the comedian, and we got Mr. Privilege himself too, Matt Lauer. They got plenty of pictures of Matt Lauer flirting with the women on TV. And also in the office. So, but these are things that we got a lot that's going on right now. And so we're going to head into the rest of the conversation. I'll mention this again on the second half about going to our website, being a part of this movement by our friends to stand for friends, stand with friends, stand by your friends for the holidays. So, again, good morning, and I'm here with Phil this morning. I'm thankful for Gary. All right.
Yes, and that's just stunning what you just showed me there. Boy, I tell you, oh boy, oh man. Here we to get on with the show. I'm going to go into the agenda here. I'm going to start up with the NFL.
Yeah.
And like I have said for years, the NFL is had always been. I was grateful to the NFL for what they did in terms of rehabilitating the bad image that the Democrat Party gave to our American soldiers. It's the Democrats that made the American soldier have the need to be rehabilitated as the heroes that they are after the Vietnam War.
That's right.
They single-handedly brought America's fighting force back to the prestige that it had always had as a savior of people. They were going around saying things like, well, America goes around trying to force their worldview on everybody around the world. They're trying to do this and that and other. But who is forcing what on who? The Democrat Party is right now in the process of forcing open borders type of a country on us. They have opened up our borders and made it so that nobody is safe in this country because I'm talking about when, the illegals have more rights in this country than the American citizen. And if you
pointed out something last week, what was revolutionary. I hope people caught that right there. What the civil rights. You know how you pointed out that there's a perversion going on right now with our constitutional rights that are being subverted with civil rights. And so just like that, the guy, they found innocent. Like you were talking about Kate's law, Kate Steinle, that guy that was found, they say, well, the gun went off accidentally, he didn't intentionally do it, so on and so forth. It's illegal. Yeah. But you notice that he had civil rights. Those civil rights suddenly became that he was already innocent before proven guilty.
That's right.
But people like Roy Moore and others, they don't get their constitutional right of being innocent first until proven guilty.
That's right.
They all of a sudden have the fortitude, civil right that you're guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent, and that's what himself and others have been fighting against right now. Against the establishment Republicans. I got to be honest with you. That's who it is, against establishment Republicans, and this and of course the underground progressive movement right now that's trying to undermine this election.
And if you don't believe what he just said, the lawyer of this illegal trespasser, that's the best that I can come up with, that his lawyer was referring to the fact that the President of the United States said something, used this as a campaign issue. He should damn well have used it as a campaign issue.
Yeah, that guy, he's not a citizen, so why shouldn't he use it against him?
And he made a mockery out of our immigration laws. And made a mockery of our Constitution, because they always are running around telling you, well, America stands for this and our strongest thing is diversity. That is not what America stands for.
No.
America stands for, first of all, the rule of law.
That's right.
If you don't have any laws, you don't have any country. And what I want to know is what does it take to get people to stop this nonsense about using racism as the reason to do anything to protect the laws of this country.
Well, all you have to do is say racism. That stops the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, but we have to remember to tell them, all right, you know what, let's put that aside. Okay, that might be it's legitimate. Okay, we'll put it aside. Let's have a heart-to-heart for a minute. Let's have a legitimate conversation. We're just gonna table that for a minute, and you'll see the whatever it is that's on them that they want to tell us is really irrelevant.
Okay,
we can beat them.
Let's look at something that happened here recently. You remember when the daycare, the illegal daycare area, that this little boy picked up a gun and shot the two kids in the daycare center.
Yeah, you got to refresh me. What state?
Here in Michigan.
Here in Michigan, just recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now they are.
I remember that now. Go ahead.
His parents, his dad, whoever owned that gun, is going to jail.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's a guy that has possession of a gun. Now we're not even going to go into how he got it, because you know what I mean. That is just ridiculous.
Was a registered?
It was a Homeland Security or something like that. Stole it. Somebody stole it out of a car. They can't say that he did it, but he had it. I mean, he gonna tell you, well, I just found it on the seat, under a seat or something.
Yeah.
And people go for that. But he was in possession of it.
Yes.
That means that he handled the firearm carelessly.
That's right.
Recklessly.
Oh yeah, that was reckless.
And yet and still they find him not guilty. Okay, this is this. Okay, so what happens right now? This guy walks out of the jail in a couple of years or a couple of months or whatever, and he's free. But what happened when the police in Los Angeles smacked Rodney King around, and they said, they went to court, they found him not guilty? What happened?
It was a riot.
Yeah, but before that riot, during that riot, George Bush Sr., what did he do? He filed civil rights charges against those cops, and they were all jailed. If you remember, they put the Los Angeles Police Department under the federal scrutiny, just like they did here in Detroit. All of this. Okay, what about Joe Arpaio? You remember Joe?
Absolutely.
Supposedly the toughest sheriff in the country? What happened to him? They put him in jail for doing his job, arresting people on the street, but they said he was violating the civil rights of illegals and put him in jail. I got the article. I'm going to read it. But before I do, I want to get to this phone call right quick, and then we'll okay, we got Bruce, and we can let him hold over. Hey, Bruce, how you doing this morning? Okay, we are going to go to the break. I slept that. If you'd like to join this conversation, that number is 734-822-1600. And we'll be back with Bruce. He's going to join this conversation, and you can too. So see you after the break.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Round Table with your hosts, Del and Phil. They're exposing the left's underground resistance while leading the charge in the fight for liberty. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored. Stop being a jackass and remove the Democrat donkey party. Saul Alinsky, a radical socialist, presented a 4-point plan for defeating an enemy. 1. Pick the target. 2. Freeze it. 3. Personalize it. And 4. Polarize it. On August 12, 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, Alinsky's 4-point plan was activated as Democrat Party approved left-wing renter mobs in an orchestrated, premeditated demonstration attacked protesters who objected to removal of Confederate Civil War commemorations. In the aftermath, angered by President Trump's audacity of truth in assigning shared blame to both combatants, the fake media, without any factual proof, began engineering their character assassination, yellow journalism smear campaign by slandering Trump as a racist and sympathizer of the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy, and Nazism, and thereby implementing Saul Alinsky's 4th rule of polarization in order to divide, separate, and erode Trump's support. Before I begin my commentary, I read several credible history sources to make sure that the collectivist language police could not dispute the accuracy of my content. According to the sources, the donkey as a Democrat Party symbol originated when Andrew Jackson ran for Democrat president in 1828, and his opponents, frustrated by his political stubbornness, began calling him a jackass. Jackson accepted the name and began using the donkey as a symbol on his campaign posters. By 1880, the donkey was established as the Democrat Party mascot. In the dictionary, a donkey is alternatively called a jackass, and it also defines a jackass as someone who is dim-witted and implacable regardless to the lunacy of their positions. The violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, conforms to the ongoing efforts by the Democrat Party to eradicate, rewrite, and purge their evil history so as to legitimize their current fakery as civil rights saints. To accomplish this scam, the Democrat Party concocted the strategy of inspiring legions of renter mob hoodlums and anarchists to destroy, remove, and vandalize what Democrats as white supremacists created. History reveals that Margaret Sanger, a supreme advocate for exterminating blacks and murdering babies by abortion, was esteemed by the Ku Klux Klan and Nazi leader Hitler. And today she is honored by the Democrat Party. Without the benefit of irrefutable history that exposes the horrendous crimes of the Democrat Party as founders of the Ku Klux Klan and generators of white supremacy, segregation, slavery, lynchings, pigmentation politics, institutional racism, torture, and murders, these truths would be buried. If the hoodlums who rampage in Charlottesville are sincere about eliminating Confederate history, they should know that like the donkey and jackass are one and the same, so is Confederate and Democrat history. And you can't stop being a jackass until you eliminate the Democrat donkey party. I am Milt, Logically Speaking Uncensored, saying, think about it.
And we are back, and thanks to Milt Harris for another sterling commentary. Man, I tell you that he really knows how to get to the vital parts of it. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to get to our phone caller, Bruce. Bruce, are you there?
Yes, I am, guys. Welcome back, Del. Oh my God, it's so wonderful to hear your voice. I'll tell you what, just keep keep doing what the doctor says and keep building that strength back up, because my own brother has just gotten over a very serious bout with cancer, and I know he's very thankful for all the prayers and support he's gotten from our family and our friends too. So I'm pulling for you, Del, and I'm going to make a donation once I get off the phone. I'm going to go right to the Art of Michigan website and look that up, and I'll get something on the website for you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, great. My jaw dropped when I heard that this guy, this scumbag, who committed 5 or 7 felonies while he had been deported 5 times and come back, and Phil, Del, Gary, this is just mind-boggling that these people would. This jury would do something like that. It's amazing. This has really got to be a dark day for the city of San Francisco, as well as for the rest of the country, to have something like this going on.
Well, you know what? These people are living in another dimension. Mm-hmm. But it all goes back to the Democrat Party, and yep. what they are is a Jim Crow state. They want to call themselves a sanctuary state. They are a Jim Crow state. That mm-hmm. is, they are giving civil rights to illegals.
Right.
And those civil rights have a super right to them. Mm-hmm. They can violate the laws with impunity, and nothing happens. Look, yeah. I think I told you that a blind guy hit me driving a car. He had no driver's license. He hit me from the rear. And I mean, it is incredible. I've never seen nothing like that.
Well, guys, they were talking about this on Hannity's program last night, and there are ways that we can bring these elected officials to account, especially the sheriff. Mm-hmm. The sheriff out there in San Francisco, he had the authority to let this guy go, and nothing's happened to this man.
Okay.
This guy can be arrested and brought up on charges of immigration law, violating immigration law. You need to go after the mayor of San Francisco. You need to go after the governor who signed that idiotic piece of legislation into law, making the entire state of California a sanctuary state.
Well, listen to this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The lawman once boasted he was America's toughest sheriff.
Yeah.
Could find himself behind bars after a federal judge found him guilty of criminal contempt on Monday. Okay, that was what I was about to ask, before the break come up. Okay.
Yeah, what about Sheriff Joe?
Well, Sheriff Joe. What did they get him for and put him in jail for? But the Steinle family has tried to bring some kind of charges against San Francisco and the mayor and they threw it out, said they didn't have standing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what happened when Rodney King, when the jury found him not guilty, found those policemen not guilty?
Yeah.
What did they do? The federal government came in and charged them with civil rights violation. So where is the federal government charging this guy with a civil rights violation? I heard somebody say that they were going to charge him with a felony, possession of a felon, with having possession of a firearm.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. They acquitted him of all the first degree murder, second degree, even the manslaughter charges, and they get felony fire. And what the really maddening thing about that, guys, is there's no additional time that this guy's going to serve.
Exactly.
This is all time served. Yeah. Now, what Sessions has done, and I've heard that the DOJ is going to have this guy taken into custody as soon as he's. Hopefully with a very, very quick turnaround time, and deport the man. Well, the man should be put in front of a firing squad for what he did, because even under California law,
at least he should be. He should at least have a sentence for the negligent use of a firearm, and it should be what they would give to the guy that shot the lady through the door here in Detroit.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
He's doing some hard time.
He is.
Yeah. Well, under California law, my understanding, when I heard this the other day, under California law, is it doesn't matter if you handle the weapon recklessly. If you fire into a crowd, whether it's intentional or not, then you can be brought, and you kill somebody, then you can be brought up on murder charges. So what the heck is going on here?
Well, what's going on?
Is this selective?
Yes, it is.
What do they
It's
call it?
selective.
Yeah.
Okay, Bruce, listen, I want to get to these other calls, so thanks for calling.
Well,
thanks for getting up with us this morning.
Dell's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again, Del. Stay in there. It's great hearing your voice. Stay in there, get that weight up, and do what the doctor says, and hopefully you'll be back to full strength before we know it.
All right, thanks again.
Okay, God bless you guys. I'm praying for you every day.
All right, we're going to go to Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, good morning, Phil. Hey, Del.
Hey, Gary.
Like Bruce was just saying, get your weight up, get back in the fight, because we need you, brother.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Gary.
And hey, Gary, how you doing?
How you doing, Gary?
Beautiful.
Hey, Gary and I are friends. We know each other from our Tea Party group.
Yeah.
Yes, I see him all the time.
Hey, look, the NFL, these people are out of their skulls. If they think that they're going to placate us by placating the kneelers, by giving our hard-earned money for ticket sales and franchising and government-sponsored when the government gives them money to Black Lives Matter. That's not going to work. That's not how it goes. They're trying
That's
to...
what they're doing, and they want to give it to all the social justice programs, and that's a part of it, the Black Lives Matter. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's not going to work for us. I mean, that's just crazy talk. So they're going to find themselves at the short end of the stick. The NFL is on its way out, it looks like.
Yeah, we're going to be watching soccer.
We are going to be watching soccer. And, well, see, the NFL think that this is a good way to get the kneelers off their knee by making this commitment. And really, they didn't ask for this. Colin Kaepernick, I call him Colin Kaepernick. I hit him in the neck. Colin, he never asked for this. Matter of fact, you never seen him attend any event. You never seen him call down to Baltimore, say, I want to organize, I want to help fundraise, I want to help with help improving schools.
I seen him the other day. You know what he was doing?
Yeah. Protesting.
He was protesting Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. And probably still had on those pig socks.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Yes.
I'd rather the communist bastard just disappear.
Yeah. And so, you're right. They are placating to them. They didn't ask for this. Boy, that's some money that Jesse Jackson, he licking his chops, him and Al Sharpton and the rest of Black Lives Matters and others. They already get big money from George Soros already.
And Barack Obama.
But you're right about what they're trying to do. They're the owners. Again, this is something Phil brought up years ago. I remember us watching families protest public school, and the teachers would be out there. I mean, I'm sorry, the families would be out there with the teachers. And I didn't understand that because the families are the ones that's the owners. They're the ones that have the children. And so they shouldn't be out there with them. They should be against the teachers, the teachers union, especially the teachers union. But again, everything is flipped upside down. And the thing is that some of the players, I guess, that they had a little group that they put together, they walked away from this. It might be because a portion it is, that they want the teams to contribute a small portion, $250,000 per team.
Right.
And they want that to come from the players. They want the players to make a small contribution.
Yeah. And they're resistant. They don't.
They don't really want to.
Yeah.
The reason, and this $100 million, the NFL never should have even had to make a commitment to. The players could have did this on their own. Each team, just the black players themselves per team, probably is worth $1 billion.
Right, and what
contracts themselves.
And what Bruce and I got together on an article that I'm going to write. And we talked about what some of the things that should be discussed by these people to do something with some money if they want to. First thing, they should look into seeing whether or not there's something they can do about the atrocious abortion rate in the black community. That's the first thing, because if you think that the police are affecting the birth rate in this country, take a look at what the birth rate is because of abortion in the black community.
You know what? They spent some $20 trillion over the last 50 years on the war on poverty. What's another $100 million going to do?
Yeah,
exactly throw it away.
Right. And
they throw it away.
And exactly because they're spending the money in the wrong place.
They are in the wrong place.
And second of all, it's because all that $20 trillion that's been spent.
Yes.
Only
that's a good point, Gary.
20%, 20 to 25% of the money goes to the actual recipient. The rest of it goes into the program.
That's right.
into campaigning,
salaries, and like you say, campaigning and keeping that cow moving.
Yeah,
absolutely. So like you said, 20% out of 100 go towards the salaries and keeping that cow moving.
And one more thing, gentlemen. It's all about attitude. It's not about where the money goes. You got to get the families back together. The fathers back in the house.
Yes.
That's what's going to
cause
where
the strength
the change. All right, brothers.
Thank you. All right.
And one thing, it was coined years ago by Patrick Moynihan. Remember when he said the expectation of the low expectation.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's why when you hear people saying that we have to do this, we have to do that, we got to keep these social programs going.
They do.
They
fight for them. You're right.
Keep you in that. I mean, look how many.
Keep low expectation. Keep them in poverty.
Pathology of low expectation.
That's right. And you got to get them out.
And so as long as we are thinking that we're going to be able to do this with money, no, but you see, that is not the Democrats' idea that get you out of poverty. They want to keep you in poverty.
They want to keep you comfortable.
That's right.
If you want a big screen TV, they'll make sure you get one.
That's right.
They'll subsidize that right
and get you all the cheese and the can of pork that you can eat.
Exactly.
So the thing about it is, you see, that like I said, people talk about civil rights. You better be fighting for your constitutional rights, because the Democrats will give you all the civil rights you can handle. You understand? But who is being the beneficiary of it? It's Democrats, because every time you try to knock down a social program, everybody that's on that social program is going to come out and call you a racist. So that's what we see going on, folks. So you better stand up and fight for your constitutional rights. So the one thing that I make this suggestion to the NFL, you understand, to the owners, they're the ones that are flashing their wallet. Okay, if you want to have an effect in the community, don't give it to these social leaders like Black Lives Matter and Wall Street and this and that and the other. Go down and find people that are involved in these women's clinics that are trying to get people on their feet after having a baby, and have turned their back on this abortion mill industry that we have, because the abortion rate in the black community is atrocious. It's almost half. And you got 6% of the women in this country that are producing almost half of the abortions in this country. That's unacceptable. black women are producing 43% of the abortions in this country. That's unacceptable, totally unacceptable. So we can look at that. We can look at, we always talking about we need jobs. We got the highest unemployment rate. We got the lowest college entrance rate. But the college kids that are in there, they are in the wrong fields.
Yeah.
They are in black studies. They are in all kind of other stuff. Only 5% of the black kids and Hispanic kids, they account for only 5% of the slots that are available for the STEM programs. STEM programs, and thanks to Derek in there, he helped me with this. The STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Okay? Now, why don't the NFL players take that $100 million in each city, buy one of these colleges? We got a lot of them around here, Baker, Jordan, and a bunch of other ones. Or they can start their own. Instead of that, they want to finance the establishment. They want to give quite a bit of money to the black colleges. Oh, that's all right. I can understand that. But why don't you, since you are in Detroit...
Well, if they're going to participate in that STEM program, that's going to increase the number of people in those sciences and mathematic programs.
Well, that's good.
Because we need to do this
But that's where the jobs are.
Yeah,
that's where
absolutely
the jobs
they are.
You know, I had a statistic, and I didn't bring it in here, but it tells you these kids, not just black kids, but a bunch of kids are graduating out of college and are working minimum wage jobs. I had the numbers. It's astonishing.
Yeah.
They work these minimum wage jobs for 4 and 5 years until they can find it. Well, here we got all of these.
Well, you're right. They're in the wrong fields.
Demanding STEM programs be increased for the people from India, from China, from Korea, South Korea. And they're flooding them into the colleges and flooding them into these corporations. It should be unacceptable that anybody come in this country and get a $50,000 a year job while we got 20% unemployment in Detroit. And that's what these kids that are in the NFL that think that they are protesting and saying to you and me that it's not the flag. It is the flag, and it is America. It's the traditions that you're protesting.
That's right.
And it's not.
It's called status quo.
That's right.
And that's what they got to get away from.
And you got to quit thinking that this country is a racist country that is out to get you. You know, that's what has to be addressed, in my estimation. It has, we're barking up the wrong tree when we think that racism is the cause of all of the problems here. It's not. If it was, you would see this is racism.
We wouldn't have so many. We wouldn't have so many multimillionaires that's in the sports industry. Blacks, I think, account. I mean, if you look at a team, they account for over half of the athletes.
Well, see the thing.
Per team, so
no, like 70%.
Is it 70%? So it's about 70%. I mean, that's a lot of economic power right there. I mean, if you added all their contracts up, these are multi.
But what next week's program?
Making a real effect
next week's program will tell you what all the opportunities that are in Detroit that are not being addressed.
Yeah.
And they want to talk about equality.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll see you next week, and we're going to have a hard-hitting show for them too.
The Round Table invites the Wham! Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.